Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. Back again with two of my favorite people, Scotty and Roxanne. How you doing?
Hey guys.
Good to be here, man. Always a pleasure.
Nice to be back.
Always.
Today's all about feeling the fear and do it anyway. And kind of around your fears and looking at how you overcome them, because we all have them, no matter how much people want to play it down and say they just have this can-do attitude or just do it attitude and just get on with things. Everyone has their fears, no matter how small or how big. And, you know, it's about us learning how to overcome them and move forwards, because that's the only way they're not going to become fears anymore if we try and overcome these barriers that, you know, we're in line with limiting beliefs to achieve what we want to achieve in life. Roxy, how do you overcome your fears?
Well, as a coach, I just have to be real with it. I have to just look at them and really analyze it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, if I was to do it, what could be the benefits? What could be the negative? But I try to mainly focus on all the good things that will come out of it, and then really go inside myself to understand why I'm so scared to do it. Because until I understand myself and understand why I'm scared to do it, I don't think I'll ever pluck up the courage to overcome that fear. I need to go inside myself to really depict the situation that's going on. And then, decide whether I'm going to take action or not. Sometimes it takes me a bit longer, but sometimes I might go to watch a motivational video or see someone else who's literally done it, and then it doesn't seem that hard or that crazy and that impossible. So I know it's doable and I know I can do it.
Where do you think your fears come from? Where are they coming from? Have you looked into it?
I think my fears come from my limiting beliefs, my belief systems, fears that, you know, others had, and it's been kind of programmed into me because, like, for instance, my mom never liked snakes. Something so simple. And then over time, I didn't like snakes. And I did a guided meditation to meet my spirit animal. And the minute it was a snake, I was just like, rejected it. I was like, nope, snakes are bad. I don't like snakes. And even from Christianity, they will tell you the serpent is bad. But when you look into it, it's actually not bad. It's all about change and growth and really connecting to who you are and becoming the new you, because the snake sheds its skin to become, you know, different.
I like that.
And that's what you do with your fears. You need to shed that skin and come into the new you to overcome that fear.
Yeah.
So,
Scott, how do you overcome your fears?
Yeah, I think it's always a constant battle, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like the great Tupac said, a coward dies 1,000 deaths, a soldier dies but once.
Yeah.
So it's like, but the thing is with fear, when you go into that fight or flight,
yes,
and the thing is when you go through fight or flight, it's like you got superpowers, man. I don't know if you had a fight before, but when you have a fight, you don't feel nothing. You know what I mean? Those punches can be coming in, you won't even feel it. So it's like we've been designed to take the blows, as they say, whether it's physical or mental. So it's like, all these limiting beliefs that you start with as a child, because obviously as a child, you're programmed. So it's like you pick them up we've got to rewire our brain and try and overcome those fears, man.
Yeah. So where do you think your fears have come from? Have you looked into that?
I think a lot from child, you know what I mean? Watching. I used to be scared of the witch from Snow White. You know? You know what I mean? It's like when you're a kid, but when you grow up, you realize that's silly. But there's still a lot of like grown up fears. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people fear going broke, like this and that. But at the end of the day, it's like when you put feeling to that fear, it's like, because I believe in manifestation, man. You could bring that more to you. So instead of trying to resist it, try overcome it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear that. You know, one of my things as a child was the Incredible Hulk, the series.
you didn't like it?
No, I used to be afraid of it as a child. I used to run out of the kitchen when we'd watch it, be on the TV, and when he would change into the Hulk and tear all his clothes, I was petrified of that. That and Doctor Who as a child.
Yeah,
like,
Doctor Who's a bit weird.
The old Doctor Who's. I'm talking about the original.
With the Daleks and that.
Yeah, the original ones, not the ones now. It's light-hearted, but I mean, the ones back then, I used to find them scary as a child. But yeah, limiting beliefs, a lot of it comes from our childhood trauma, and things we've experienced. But you know what? I think it is the older I've become is about realizing that fear is natural. That's something you have to embrace and go with and process it, and that's how you overcome it. And realizing that the other side of it's beautiful. The sun starts shining. You can see a rainbow, and there's light, and there's the promised land, the other side of all this stuff that's holding us back and preventing us from being our true selves. So I think that's important, is that the other side of it, you're going to feel it. And I always tell myself when the fears come up, and you're right, it's our bodies protecting us, Scott. It's fight or flight mode, and realizing, like you said, we can take the blows, we can take the punches, and we may be up against the ropes for a while, but we'll find our way and start winning, getting some points back. Start throwing our own punches back at it. And it's realizing that, because it's natural, and it's realizing it's natural, and this is how we feel as human beings. It's a natural emotion, is fear, but it's not. It's overcoming it is where we have our biggest wins in life. And if you can overcome your fears, is where we're most triumphant as human beings, and where the most growth can be had. Is through overcoming fears and these barriers that we've placed within ourselves, because it's us. It's not about other people. And that's why I'm always key with all these podcasts is stop blaming others for what we can't achieve. So always look at yourself, and be careful with that as well, because with that comes being overcritical and beating ourselves up. So there's a balance to that as well. There's the looking within, but don't be too hard on yourself, because it's a natural instinct. And we're not androids, we're not robots. These are things we feel. So no matter how clever you are, you can't overcome that. I mean, in regards of feeling these emotions, but you can overcome the barriers that come with the emotions. So it's a balance still. It's still not getting caught up in why didn't I achieve that, and really hard on yourself, because it doesn't get anywhere. Because at the end of the day, the relationship with yourself needs to be the best you can have. Because if you don't have a great relationship with yourself, you can't have a great relationship with others. It all starts with you.
But that's the thing. It's like you said, fear is normal. It's like it's how you channel your fear. It's like there's a film called Wanted, right? With what's his name? James McAvoy, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And he was going through like severe anxiety, right, because of the fear. But then what he didn't realize is the superpowers he had when he overcame that fear, when he learned to channel it. It's like you said, through the other side, there's liberation. But you can have the mental chains. You can be imprisoned with your fear, or you can snap them chains and get onto the other side, like you said, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good film as well. No, but I agree with what you guys are saying as well, because it's like Scott said, don't reject that fear. It's all about embracing it, because as a child, what are we taught? Don't be scared, don't be this, don't. So we're not, like, it goes back to emotional intelligence as well. We're not taught how to deal with fear and the vocabulary and the way we speak to ourselves. Because when I did a masterclass, one thing I learned is it's the language we use.
Yes.
If you say I'm scared, is the difference for saying it's the action. So you're actually telling yourself I'm scared instead of you're telling yourself I'm scaring myself, because that's two different things.
Sure.
So when you change the language and what you're actually saying to yourself and the dialogue, it changes everything completely, especially in your mind. And I like what you're saying as well, Mike, about looking at yourself and not being too critical. I think it's really important just to have that level of awareness, being aware of your thoughts and your feelings, and not being the inner critic. Don't be the judge and the victim. Don't punish yourself for what went wrong and what you're feeling. Just analyze it and look at, okay, where did things go wrong? Don't say, what did I do wrong? Because you're looking at yourself. Look at, like I said, look at the experience and the situation, and then take it from there. Because like you said, the contrast, there's always going to be dark and light, but you need both. So you have to look at the darkness in order to get to the light. So analyze the darkness, look at the darkness. How did things go in the darkest times, to understand how to get to the light?
Yeah, 100%. Roxy, what's your biggest fear?
Well, it used to be spiders, but I think my biggest fear was being alone.
Wow.
I didn't like it.
Wow.
It was something that made me feel really vulnerable, really uncomfortable and unloved and unwanted. And even I learned this the other day, it comes from the fact that losing my dad quite young and never having that, and just feeling that emptiness, and it brought about these emotions of aloneness and not wanting to lose everyone around me, because it's a scary thing, but that's part of life. People aren't always going to be there, but it's just not looking at it in such a dark way, just loving the time you have with people, loving the experience, learning to be whole within yourself, learning that you are your biggest, brightest light, and you're not alone, because you got yourself, you got your soul. Your soul will always keep you company. You're a bigger being, and then you've always got your guides. So yeah, through a lot of training and meditation and writing, I've discovered that it's okay to be alone sometimes, because you need that space to grow, to gather your thoughts, to become stronger. And don't look at it as being alone. Change the dialogue. Just look at it as, I'm here being present with myself. Yeah, and that's what I try to tell myself.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the importance of alone time, it's so important to spend time with yourself as well as with others. You need to learn to love you and time with you. Take yourself out to dinner. Spend some time listening to music with yourself. Love yourself. Self-care. Take a nice long hot bath, a nice long walk. And it's all about developing that relationship with you. And really making that a strong relationship. The way you communicate, the way you connect with you, it's so important. And that builds up your self-worth. You know how important you are, but you've got to act that way and behave that way. Remember, it's all about actions, isn't it? Actions speak louder than words. So,
I love that you're saying that, because I think when I felt those feelings of aloneness, I was like low self-esteem, low confidence, didn't know my own worth. And I think it kind of manifested into relationships, because then it was the whole, I need to be in a relationship to not feel alone. So you get that attachment. So I had to kind of disconnect from all these things and really build myself up and love myself. And I'm loving myself now. I can't get enough of me. And it's a process and a journey. And that's what I take people on, that journey to learning who they are and accepting who they are and being who they are.
Yeah, 100%. Scott, talk to me. Your biggest fear?
My biggest fear used to be being hated, being not liked. But it's the more I grow, it's I don't give a damn if people don't like me. I don't give a damn if people hate me, because I like me, you know what I mean? It's I can't control my outer world, but I can control how I feel about myself. You know what I mean? And it is a liberation, you know what I mean? Because it's it's like you say, self-love is important, man. Self-love is key. Because if you don't love yourself, who's gonna love you? You know?
Yeah, 100%. I think.
What about you, Mike? What's your biggest fear?
Yeah, biggest, a lot of it's around failure, sucking at something new, and not going for it. Because I've got all these big ideas, and it's a lot around, what if I fail? What if I suck at this? What if someone thinks I'm an imposter here? You know, I don't belong in this environment. I'm not a part of this. I don't, you know, and it's a lot around that. And again, it goes back to being accepted and wanting to feel a part of something and belong, a sense of belonging. Yeah. So my fears are around that, of finding my place. And if I go for these goals, you know, will people think I don't belong? Would I not fit in? Would it? And it's going back to childhood and stuff, and you know, some of the traumas I went through, and it's not feeling I was enough. So that comes in, and it's being aware of that, and being conscious of, you know, why you're feeling these things. And I'll tell you what, that's the biggest thing around starting this podcast, is breaking down a lot of that. Is developing my own community and my own tribe of people like you guys that we work with, and we connect and we vibe. And it's saying that, you know, there's space for everyone within this YouTube and social media world. You know, there's enough food at the table for everyone. You know, and we don't have to feed off scraps. We can eat as much as we want. You know, for buffet.
I like that analogy.
And it's remembering that, and not thinking, actually, maybe, you know, I won't be able to sit at this table. Maybe, you know, I'd have to eat next door or something, or maybe I'll just get some beans on toast or something, while people are eating, like, you know, their gourmet meals, and their you know what I mean?
You're making me hungry, man.
That's what I mean. You're not waiting for no scraps, man. You're making your own table.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So my fears are around that. And just to wrap up this episode, my last thoughts are, you know, go for it, because what's the worst that can happen? You know, our minds build up it to be the worst things ever, but it's not. It's just something we have to overcome. So let's get, again, that's ego, because our ego is telling us, oh no, you know what, you need to look good, and you need to fit in, and you need to, you know, everything you do and go for, you need to achieve at it first. No, you can have setbacks, and then eventually you will learn for experience how to be the best you can within this field. So go for it anyway. And, you know, who gives a F about what anyone else thinks, as long as you're fulfilling your needs and your wants and going for what you did, because at least you can say at the end of the day, I tried, and I tried my best at this, and I had a go at it, rather than I didn't know, because I just lived in fear my whole life, and I didn't want to try, because you know what, I might fail. Last words, Roxy?
No, but I like what you said about the failure thing. I think it's important to suck at sucking, because anything like feeling embarrassed or like people laughing at you, once you kind of go through that, you know how it feels. Now you can just use that as your biggest energy. Okay, so they laughed at me, so what? I'm still gonna keep going. So you've experienced being laughed at. It's not that bad. It might hurt you a little bit, but you know you can build yourself back up. You're stronger than that. But that in your mind could be the worst thing that can happen. So now let's go forward. Let's overcome this. At the end of the day, take the risk. Don't let fear anchor you and keep you here. Just trust yourself, trust your guides, and, you know, go for the support. Like Mike's saying, we're all here to help each other in this world. Lay that table and start feeding each other, and then find someone who's happy to feed you too. And that will help you flourish and grow. And then you spread that love and light to someone else, and then just keep it moving, and, you know, get that energy flowing.
100%. Scott, last words?
I'll just say, just do it. You know what I mean? You're limitless, man. You know, you can do anything you put your mind to it, man. Don't believe what we've been taught, that we're limited, because we're limitless.
100%. Guys, again, huge thank you. Guys, please like, share, subscribe to the video for this real talk. And it's just going to keep on getting realer with the more episodes that come. So, yeah, man. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Love, light, bro.
Bless, man.